Thomas out at Enterprise State. Yes, sir. Good to see you. Yes, sir.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
Missed you last month. Where were you? I know you were absent. You weren't here last month because you weren't sitting inside.
I know, but I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I know where I was. Where were you? You talked to Alan.
It just all depends on
I was in the great state of South
how
Dakota.
close we want to be to everything.
Auburn played basketball.
And you were there.
Well, my wife said we went. Auburn football played Vanderbilt the weekend, and she said, "You know, we're both retired, and Auburn's playing basketball." I said, "Yeah, but that's an away game." She said, "Yeah, but it's in South Dakota." I said, "Yeah, well, we're going to be in Nashville." I said, "Oh, that's like a 12-hour drive."
Right.
Arkansas and Fayetteville on the way back, so we had to make that.
So you had an excuse.
I did 3,700 miles in 71 hours, and both of us survived. Tells you how much patience I have.
Just want to know I missed my seat back.
No, I missed it. Good talk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's December, it's near Christmas, the holidays are here. We can all collectively do a little bit better than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you again for coming to our December meeting. This is always a special time for us, that we have some additional guests that are not here most of the meetings, but occasionally you will have some of the folks. We are pleased that Dr. Richardson is with us all the time, but some of her colleagues from the State Department of Education, the board, often join us for this joint meeting. So we're saying that we're happy to have them first and foremost, and we'll have a little bit more to say about that as we start this meeting. I would like to call this meeting officially to order of the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees, and we appreciate your ongoing interest. A great deal of interest and work has gone into the preparation for this meeting and the documentation that we have will be using for the meeting. I'd like to commend the Chancellor, his staff, and the college presidents and their staffs for the diligent work in helping prepare for this meeting. As always, we'll remain laser focused on student success and remain true to our core mission of education, workforce development, and academic transfer. So with that, we will actually have Dr. Mackey to introduce the Alabama State Board of Education members along with himself. Dr. Mackey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's good to be here today and join you all. I thank you for the festive activities we've got after this. I know we're going to have lunch together, and I thank you and thank Chancellor Baker for that. As you know, the governor serves as president of our board, and the governor, of course, is not with us this morning. She's got a pretty busy schedule. But the board every year chooses a vice president. Vice president of the board conducts all of our work sessions and business in absence of the governor. Tracy West, Mrs. West is here on my left. If you don't know her, she's a very successful realtor from the Auburn area. She represents District 2, which goes all the way from Cleveland County down the Georgia line to the Florida line. And so it's a long district, and then, of course, includes several counties to the west of that, too. So she may have some comments that she would like to make. Also, Nick Moore, I think all of you know Nick, is here representing the governor this morning because, as I said, she couldn't be here. We do have 2 or 3 other board members that are on their way driving down this morning and are going to join us for lunch, so we'll introduce them later. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Dr. Yvette Richardson, that you, as our liaison, you borrow lots from her from us every month, but we cannot have her permanently. So she's with us, and one of our board members, too, represents District 4, that area from Birmingham west to Mississippi, and then down into the northern Black Belt, too. So she's got several counties. Both of these ladies have large geographic areas and do a really good job making sure that their local boards and superintendents know exactly what's happening with the state board and getting feedback from them back to us, too. So I appreciate them and all of our other members for what they're able to do. Let me say this before I ask Mrs. West if she would like to make a comment. I do want to say, because I always want to take this opportunity to say big thank you to this board, to the chancellor and his staff, and many college presidents who are here with us today for the great work that you do. I was able to be out at the Education Commission of the State's Commissioners meeting 2 weeks ago in Denver, and Alabama was one of the states featured. Jim Purcell made the presentation for us about our partnership between K-12 and higher education, and particularly the community college system, because as you probably know, I'm sure the chancellor has reminded you 1,000 times, the majority of the two-year colleges in the country are losing enrollment, some of them dramatically, and some of them are having to look at closing down. Alabama is not on that trend. We're showing tremendous growth. We have more students today graduating high school with college credit than we have ever had before. We have more students graduating and going on to some, not necessarily four-year college, but some kind of post-secondary training than we've ever had before. And that's because of the great partnership that we do have. I would not take much credit for that, because it's the people working in our department, people working in our local school systems, and again, all the folks who are here behind me, that make that happen on a day-to-day basis, making sure we have good dual enrollment programs, we have good articulation agreements, and that we help students understand there is a path forward. So I thank you for that, Mr. Roman. And with that concludes my comments. Mrs. West, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much on behalf of the board for the invitation to be here today. And I just want to say I'm so grateful for the work that you all do. My own children, each of them took advantage of dual enrollment in high school. My girls went through public school, kindergarten through 12th grade. And I am so grateful for the commitment of the folks in this room to the young people of Alabama. And again, I appreciate this invitation today.
Well, with that, we welcome you once again, and those who are on the way. As Dr. Mackey mentioned, we will have the opportunity to break some bread a little bit later, and we're happy to do that, and we'll talk about the logistics of that to come. But right now, we would like for you to join us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, first, we'll do the invocation. We have Pastor Chris Searcy from Fresh Anointing House of Worship. Pastor Chris Searcy is a passionate individual with a diverse background in political science, journalism, healthcare marketing, and ministry. His life's journey has been marked by a commitment to service, storytelling, and spiritual growth. He started his intellectual journey with a degree in political science, spending a significant portion of his professional life as a dedicated reporter in the Southeast and the Midwest. Driven by a desire to make a positive impact on people's lives, he transitioned into the healthcare sector, where he took on the role of marketing manager at a major safety net hospital. His life took an unexpected turn when he felt a calling to ministry, and he accepted a role in leadership at the Fresh Anointing House of Worship in Montgomery, Alabama. Serving in this vibrant local church, he has been blessed to contribute to a community dedicated to faith, worship, and making a positive impact on the lives of those we touch. Pastor Searcy's true joy is found in his beautiful family. His wife, Maria, is his pillar of strength and support. Together they are blessed with two amazing daughters, Ginger and Sophia. Pastor Searcy is driven by the belief that each chapter, whether in journalism, healthcare, or ministry, contributes to a tapestry of experiences that shape who he is today. Pastor Searcy, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. That was pretty long. Next month, I'll make sure I cut it down a little bit. The only thing that I think was left out was that although I went to Auburn University in Montgomery, I am on the side of the righteous as a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide. So, I can't omit that. But if you will, bow your heads for the invocation. God, we thank you that all of this is from you, through you, and to you. God, we thank you that you have enabled us to do everything with excellence. So I ask for every member that's in here that you would bless the work of their hands, that you would give them grace to excel in the small things, the days that seem long, the things that seem mediocre or repetitive. God, we ask that you would give them a renewed passion and a fresh vision to see Alabama community colleges excel, that the growth that we're seeing now would grow even more, that exponentially more students would come to community colleges, that they would seek education, they would seek strength, and they would strengthen their mind and their souls because of the work that's done in this room. God, I ask for clarity. I ask that everyone who is in here would know exactly what they need to do to grow. I ask that you would be with them, God, that your spirit would guide them. And even in this meeting and the procedural things, God, we ask for excellence in all things, and that in all things that you would be glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Searcy, and I think he has covered two of the most sacred things here in Alabama, Auburn and Alabama football. So thank you, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Jeff Shell.
Present.
Mr. John Mitchell.
Present.
Ms. Valerie Gray.
Present.
Mr. Goodrich Rogers.
Present.
Mr. Ron Houston.
Present.
Mr. Levelyn Rowe.
Present.
Mr. Tim McCartney.
Present.
Mr. Brent Lightsey.
Present.
Dr. Yvette Richardson.
Present.
Governor Kay Ivey. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The agenda for this meeting was distributed in advance to our board members for their review. I will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Duss. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Houston. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving signify by raising your hand or voice vote. All right, it passes. Motion passes for approval of the agenda. We now have the minutes, approval of the minutes from our meeting in November of this year. They were too distributed to board members for their review in advance. I will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our November 2023 meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Lightsey has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shell. Any question? All those in favor, please raise your hand or voice vote. The minutes have been approved. Do we have anyone who signed up for public comment, Madam Secretary? Seeing none, we will actually move to the rest of the agenda. Next up, we actually have a college spotlight. We're happy to have Jeff State Community College.
Well, good morning, Chairman Roan, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about what's going on at Jefferson State. And we'll just jump right in because I have quite a bit. It's funny when you do little things here and there, but you put together what's happening over the last 2 to 3 years. It's quite a bit. So give you a chance to look at some of these numbers and point a couple of them out to you. Dr. Mackey mentioned our dual enrollment. Actually, that number now is 3265. So I think we have the largest dual enrollment population in the two-year college system. Neil can correct me if he gets a chance to. But I fully expect us to be close to 3,500 dual enrollment students coming into this fall. That number over the last 5 years has grown from 2,200 now to over 3,000, 3,265 in fact. So the other thing I want to point out is our fast track, our non-credit training. 2121 is the annual number of students we've served over the past year. That has doubled in the last 2 years. So we've grown from 1,000, and that number is going to continue. I fully expect us to be over 3,000 non-credit students. The dual enrollment students I'll point out as well, we have 70 classes at 60 different high schools in our 4-county area, so quite a bit to serve. And Chancellor, we deal in lives, we don't deal in numbers, but it is nice to note that Jefferson State has over $500 million economic impact in our community every year. Wow. We have 4 campuses. This is our original campus in Jefferson campus. You can see we're trying to make some improvements. We all inherited the yellow brick rectangles, and we're making some opportunity to improve the aesthetics on those as well. Quite a bit of activity happening on this campus. Many of you might have been to the Shelby Hoover campus. We opened it in 1993, so it's over 30 years old. This is the newest building, the Judy Merritt building that opened in 2008. Pell City opened, our St. Clair Pell City campus opened in 2006. And then rounding out is our Clanton campus in Chilton County, which opened in 2008. Many of you have been there to the CPAC for different events and activities. I'm going to play a video of some things that have gone on over the last, again, this is a 2-3 year time frame. So this isn't the 58-year history, but just pay attention to what all has been happening at Jeff State, and then I'm going to come back and share a little bit more with you. Quite a bit going on. You saw there we were cutting the ribbon. Yes, that's a cutting torch I'm using to cut the ribbon for a welding center at our Shelby campus. What I want to point out about this, you see the mayor of Hoover, city of Hoover there, Chad Scroggins, county manager, Shelby County. The city of Hoover provided the property. The county provided funding toward the construction of this welding center. The Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham is represented in this photo as well. They actually gave us a grant to help with the construction. So a lot of partners in this, and this is done phenomenally well. We opened it 2 years ago with an expansion of our welding program, and I'll give you a little foreshadowing because we need to expand it. Between dual enrollment, traditional enrollment, and incumbent worker training, we're going to be putting in a request to expand this particular building over the next year. Our line worker program we launched 3 years ago in conjunction with Alabama Power. But of course, with the power company, true to form, it's not just about them because there are so many other industries represented with this program. But I also want to point out this cemented our relationship with Alabama Power. We're about to launch distribution control center training next month, and then my partners at Lawson and Trenholm together we're developing customer service training for Alabama Power and other industries as well. CDL program we launched about a year ago, and this was a change for Jeff State. For many years, other colleges had CDL programs, and we said, you know what, they can do that. We'll do something different, but we couldn't ignore the need any longer. And so a year ago, we broke ground on this, and it's been a phenomenally successful program. Another bit of foreshadowing, because the needs are too great out there, we're going to be looking to expand this program as well, even into the northern part of our service area over the next year. This is one of my favorite videos, downtown Jeremiah's Hope Southside Training Center. This is a beautiful public-private partnership. We leased a building from St. Vincent's Foundation. We subleased it to Child Care Resources, who operate a Head Start program in the building. The children that you see there are Head Start students. While the students are doing the Head Start training, we're educating the moms to go to work at St. Vincent's in medical programs. So it's a great four-way partnership because the Women's Foundation of Alabama provides the funding for the training for those mothers. So great program, small but impactful program. And by the way, when I say leased a building from St. Vincent's Foundation, I mean $1 a year lease. They were very generous to us in that. Histology program we launched last year. If you don't know what a histotechnician does, don't feel bad, because I didn't either. This came out of our advisory board of our medical laboratory technician program, who said there's not a histotechnician program in the state of Alabama. They prepare micro samples of tissue for study in the biomedical industry. So we can only have a cohort of about 8 to 10 students, but it's small and impactful. Represents industry such as Southern Research, our partner in downtown. But it represents, too, how we are taking a part in the biomedical industry in the Birmingham metropolitan area. We also have the only funeral service program. I think there may be a need throughout the state, but we train all over the state of Alabama. It's delivered both online and in person, and even into neighboring states of Georgia, Tennessee, and Mississippi. This program's been around for us for decades and has a solid reputation. Believe it or not, there's still a high job demand in this industry as well. Our culinary program, we have the oldest accredited culinary program in the state, and you have a box of truffles and other goodies that were provided by our culinary program. Great reputation in the Birmingham area, small but impactful program, and they do a tremendous service to the college. And some of you have partaken of some of the food that comes out of our culinary program. And if you're ever in the area, we do operate at Bistro Provert restaurant at our Shelby Hoover campus. It's open for lunch Monday through Thursday. You saw us unveiling our Student Success Center, Regions Foundation Student Success Center. This is not academic success. This is wraparound support services. Mental health, peer-to-peer counseling, food pantry. You saw that to address the food insecurities there. And then emergency grants. And I mean emergency grants for unexpected car repairs, back rent, back utilities, things that would otherwise impede a student from being able to progress in their education. So very proud of that. It launched about a year ago. We had the unveiling in March. We've already had over 1,000 students take advantage of those services. Turning to the academics, we had 3 Barry Goldwater Scholars this past year. These are students who get scholarships in the sciences, engineering, and mathematics. And these are students in our Bridges to Baccalaureate program in conjunction with UAB. And they are already transferred to UAB. 2 of them are science, 1 is engineering, but they're going to make an impact. And again, it's another way we are contributing to the biomedical industry in the Birmingham metropolitan area. Speaking of nationwide awards, we had 2 of the 20 all-academic team members last year. So there are only 20 selected nationwide over about 1,800 students. Jeff State had 2 of those 20. So again, very solid academic foundation at Jeff State. We've had 4 winners of the Academic All-American First Team over the course of that program's existence. So very proud of that. I didn't even know you could have 2 from the same college, but we had 2. We had our groundbreaking for our Workforce Development Center. Mr. Houston was able to join us for that. That's going to open about a year from now, where we'll expand our non-credit training in electrical, HVAC, and multi-craft training. And very proud of what we're doing to meet the workforce needs in this area. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a ribbon cutting for our surgical technology program, which will begin in January. This came about because St. Vincent's reached out to us and said, please start a program. The demand's too high and the output's not there. But here's what's great about this. It's not just about St. Vincent's. At the ribbon cutting, when we got ready to open this, there were 4 hospitals represented there, each with multiple vacancies, and I mean double-digit vacancies, ready to hire our graduates as soon as they come out of this program. It's a 2-semester program, so they'll start in January. By September, they're ready to go to work, and the jobs are waiting for them out there. So again, one more opportunity for us to meet the workforce needs in our area. We announced recently, too, we're going to co-locate, Dr. Mackey, a charter school on our campus. So beginning in the fall, we'll have 9th grade, and on from there, we'll have 10th, 11th, and 12th. Imagine the opportunities, though, for these charter school students to come onto a college campus. And if they want to take a dual enrollment class, they can walk to the next building over. So I fully expect by the time they finish high school, many of these students are going to get their high school diploma and an associate's degree at the same time. And guess what? I don't want to stop with the students. I want to get the moms and dads who are coming to drop them off at school Come talk to us about what we can do for you too to change your lives. So multi-generational approach to this. This will begin in the fall as well. And then finally, we have, through the generous support and advocacy of Representative Danny Garrett in the Trussville area, we're expanding into the Trussville area. So he secured funding for us. It's set aside now. This is part of a larger development, so it's probably 2, maybe 3 years away, but we're already doing some non-credit training through the generosity of Trussville City Schools in the middle school to begin those programs, and then we'll roll them into this training center once it opens into maybe 3 years. So very proud of what we're doing there, making an impact in our community. A lot of work has gone on, and this is just, again, this is just 2-3 years worth of work. Everything that you see here. So we continue to lean forward, and I would be remiss if I didn't say too, it's easy for me to stand up here and talk about these programs and say yes when an employer reaches out and said, would you start this program? There's a whole team back at the college that hasn't put it together, and I have a great team at Jeff State who's pulled all this stuff off. So again, I'm happy to share with you this morning, and I'll stop there and entertain any questions that you might have. You can say, wow.
President Brown, I was looking for the right word, and that probably is the best one. Wow. Now, as he was presenting the programs, I was just amazed and reminded of the diverse and broad programs that are available at Jeff State, but and many of our other schools, literally from birth with the young students on the Southside Center to end of life training for folks in the funeral industry. They kind of cover it all, and they can feed you and make sure you're well taken care of in the meanwhile. So it's really a full continuum of life that gets covered on a community college campus, and Jeff State is a proud example of the many good things that we're out there, and the creative partnerships ranging from working with the hospitals to get that overcharged $1 lease to ranging to bringing a charter school actually onto one of the campuses. That's creativity at its best, and meeting folks where they are. So Dr. Brown, to you and your staff, we really thank you for sharing this morning, and that is, in one word, wow.
Thank you, and certainly I appreciate the support of the board and the chancellor.
Let me mention this. This has been great. The president does a super job at Jeff State, but there's a little more than that. He serves as one of the senior presidents, and he provides a lot of leadership to the state as a whole, between and among various presidents. And he's always available when we call on him to help us out in a situation at another school or another president. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate that.
Thank you, Chancellor. I do appreciate it. And thanks again for this opportunity.
Thank you also for your culinary treats there.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that
I
very
hope
much.
you enjoy it. If you don't want it, I'll take it back with me. So thanks again.
So how do we follow that? I guess we do have some other business that we will attend to this morning, and starting with section 9 of our agenda, the executive, legal, and public information section. Our first action item is from Calhoun Community College, a review and approval of its mission statement. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve the mission statement of Calhoun Community College. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Rogers. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. McCartney. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next up, we have a review of the mission statement from Lawson State Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve the mission statement of Lawson State Community College. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Mr. Houston, second by Mr. Shell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have a review of the mission statement of Coastal Alabama Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve the mission statement of Coastal Community College. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lightsey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Houston. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have the budget request from the Alabama Community College System. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve the 2024-2025 budget request for the Alabama Community College System and the Alabama Community College System Office as outlined in the attached documents. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rogers, second by Ms. Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please show your, all in favor, raise your hand or a voice vote. The motion passed, the recommendation passes. Next, we have garage liability insurance for the Alabama Community College System. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College Board of Trustees authorize and direct each college to purchase garage liability insurance coverage under a policy recommended by the Chancellor for the coverage period November 15, 2023 and ending November 14, 2024. It is further recommended that the annual premium be apportioned among the colleges as determined by the Chancellor. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McCartney. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Shell. Any further discussion? All in favor of approval, please raise your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. We next will move to Section 10, Instruction, Research and Development, Adult Education, Facilities, Fiscal, Information Technology, and Workforce Development. First, we have a recommendation from Chattahoochee Valley Community College, an addition of an instructional site. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve an additional instructional site for Chattahoochee Valley Community College. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gray. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Houston. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have the Andalusia Campus New Construction Trades Lab addition for Lurleen B. Wallace Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Lurleen B. Wallace Community College to proceed with the project named Andalusia Campus New Construction Trades Lab. Approximately 10,000 square feet of new building will be constructed to provide workforce training for the construction trades. Construction contracts for the project shall be executed no later than March 1st, 2024, or this authorization shall expire. Do I have a motion for approval? We have a motion to approve. Excuse me. Wow. Excuse me. By Mr. Mitchell. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. McCarthy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passed. Next, we have exterior improvements of Bethune-DeRamus Hall and George Layton Building at Jefferson State Community College. It reads, it is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve civil bid package change order number 3 for the project named Jefferson State Community College exterior improvements of Bethune-DeRamus Hall and George Layton Building. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Houston. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Rogers. Any further discussion? All in favor of approval, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have the Bevel Center shingle roof project at Gadsden State Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approve change order number 1 for the project named Gadsden State Community College Bevel Center shingle roof located on the campus of Gadsden State College. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. McCarthy, second by Mr. Rogers. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have the Executive Park campus renovation at Trenholm State Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Trenholm State Community College to proceed with the demolition and abatement bid for the project named Executive Park Campus Renovation. The renovation will provide space for growing workforce training in healthcare and culinary programs within the city of Montgomery and Montgomery County service areas. Construction contracts shall be executed no later than March 1st, 2024. This authorization shall expire. Do I have a motion for approval?
Second.
A motion by Mr. Mitchell, second by Mr. Lightsey. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approval, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have the Eister Building renovation for STEAM Imagination Center at Calhoun Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Calhoun Community College to proceed with the project named Eister Building renovation for STEAM Imagination Center. The renovation will provide space for workforce training in digital design and computer graphics. Construction contracts shall be executed no later than March 1st, 2024, or this authorization shall expire. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rogers, second by Mr. McCarthy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. Next, we have a Phil Campbell campus renovation at Northwest Shoals Community College. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Northwest Shoals Community College to proceed with the gym bid and the Building 309 roofing bid for the project named Phil Campbell Campus Renovation. The scope of work includes demolition, renovation, new construction, and re-roofing of multiple buildings on the campus. Construction contracts for the gym bid and the Building 309 roofing bid shall be executed no later than March 1st, 2024. This authorization shall expire. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Lightsey. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. McCarthy. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation passes. So with that, we will go to section 11, personnel.
Good morning to you all. With Shelton State now in the good hands of Dr. Jonathan Coe, it is by policy required that the board consider the resignation of Dr. Chris Cox from his position as president at Shelton State. We have Dr. Cox's letter of resignation, and I would be most grateful if the chairman would entertain or request a motion for the board to accept Dr. Cox's resignation.
Based upon the recommendation of David, we are calling for a motion to accept the resignation of Dr. Cox from the position of president of Shelton State. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have I have a motion from Mr. Rogers. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. McCarthy. All those in favor of acceptance of this, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The recommendation has been accepted. Further personnel? All right. So we will actually go back to the chancellor.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on to the chancellor's report, I have a personnel item. Is Dr. Brock Kelly here? He's not here. Okay. Last week I had the opportunity to have some guests in my house, and the TV was on to Alabama Public TV for the Alabama State 7A football championship.
Oh, yeah.
I happened to walk outside and look at the TV, and Dr. Brock Kelly was speaking at halftime about the community college system. I couldn't hear all what he said, but I'm sure it was positive and it was a good plug for the system. But I thought that's pretty awesome for him to be at halftime with the announcers talking about this system.
That's a great recruiting tool and a great place where you had at least two communities that were really tuned in, and I'd say likely across the state for those championships. So that's a good one. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell, for that and pointing that out, for Brock doing that. We appreciate that. Again, these are just continuous examples of the creativity that we see on our campuses and amongst our presidents and staff members day in and day out to make sure that the goodwill and the message is getting out there. And combine that with, our communications efforts here at the systems office, and it makes a really strong 2 through 24 punch. So we'll go to the chancellor.
Neil, will you come and give us an update on enrollment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, board members. Good morning, Chancellor. Good morning, presidents. Very excited to be able to share a little bit of a deeper dive into enrollment today. I know I'm normally up here for about 3 to 5 minutes, and I won't take much more than that, but Susan has asked me to give a little bit deeper data today, which I'm really excited to do. And all of this data has been supplied to me by the Division of Instruction and Research and Data. Ms. Kelly Birchfield and Ms. Jessica Carroll have just been tremendously helpful to us in pulling a lot of data to make sure that we know that we have actionable data, that we can take action on it. So I'm going to give you a very quick rundown. Fall 2023, these are numbers that you have seen before. We have now 83,502 students taking 4 credit courses at our community colleges. That's a little over 6.3% ahead of where we were fall 22. That's almost 5,000 students more than we had last fall. And that is the highest head count that we've seen since fall 2013. And I know that it seems like I'm glossing over that. I've said it a couple of times, but that's something truly to be celebrated. As far as credit hours produced, we have over 722,000 credit hours that have been produced in 4 credit education. That's 4.78% ahead of fall 22, and over almost 33,000 credit hours more than what we produced last fall. And I think one of the things that it's easy to look at our system, and dual enrollment is talked about a lot, and dual enrollment is a big part of what we do, and it is very quickly growing, but it is not the only sector that in which we are growing. We did see a 16.5% increase in the number of students taking dual enrollment classes with us. Again, a lot of credit goes to our colleges. Of course, credit goes to the legislature for continuing to fund that, and credit goes to our K-12 partners for stepping into these partnerships with our colleges. And I can't say enough about those high school partners across the state. But first-time freshmen are increasing as well. We saw an almost 10% increase in first-time freshmen this fall, particularly those taking CTE courses. I think this says a lot about the areas that our colleges are focusing on, the types of programs that are being offered, the way that those programs feed into business and industry, and the students are standing up and taking notice of how they can begin at one of our community colleges, have a much shorter path toward a really meaningful career, and they're taking advantage of those. We did see a slight uptick in students seeking associate degrees, AA and AS degrees in general studies. We also saw a 5% increase in transfer students. So, we'll take students any way we can get them, and certainly if students are attending a four-year college or another community college and they need to make their way to another college here in the state, we want to be welcoming of that. Let's see, okay, so this is enrollment by student type. I talked about dual enrollment and first-time freshmen and transfer, but I also want to talk a little bit about enrollment by age. Again, dual enrollment, always going to be a major player for us. We saw a big percentage jump in students under 21 who are taking classes with us. A large part of that is dual enrollment. But we saw upticks in enrollment across every age range, 21 to 30, a little over 3%, all the way up to 61 and up. We saw a 12.6% increase in those 61 and older taking courses with us. These are fun data to look at, and again, it helps us be able to see people of all ages returning to get an education or to get additional training and be able to upskill or reskill and move into a new career. Enrollment by race. American Indian, we saw an increase there, 34%. Asian students, 9.61. Black or African American, I'll touch on this a little bit more in a moment, but 8.46% increase. White students, 3.82. And then two or more races, 24%. One thing that I did not include on this, and I think this says a lot about the data that we are collecting, the only decrease in a particular race that we saw was in the unknown race. And so it lets us know that we're actually collecting better data across our application for admission. So that is a category that we have in our system as unknown race. That's the only area we saw a decrease. Here's some highlights for you. We did maintain a 60-40 female to male ratio. We increased our proportion of Black and African American students from 26% to 27%. We increased our proportion of Hispanic and Latino students, 7 to 8%. This is something I always want our legislators to know. 96% of our students came from the state of Alabama. It has hovered at 96% for the last 5 years, and maybe beyond that, but I only asked for 5 years worth of data. The percentage of students who had to be remediated decreased from 27% to 23%. And this has a great deal to do with the way that we are remediating our students now. And I know that Dr. Cox and Dr. Calhoun in our instructional division and the people in our division could talk to you more in detail about the way that we're doing that. But we believe, and according to Kelly, despite the fact that we are remediating less students, the outcomes are actually better than what they were when we were remediating more. So again, that might be something worth diving into in a future meeting. And 22% of our ACCS students are 25 and older. Again, it says a lot about students who are standing up, seeing what it is that we offer, and realizing that they can take advantage of those programs. This chart is something I'd love for you to soak in. In 2019, our enrollment was dangerously close to 80,000. And you know what happened in March of 2020? Our enrollment declined by about 11% to just under 71,000. But for the last 3 years, we've seen enrollment increases. That year, in fall of 2020, we had 22 of our colleges saw a decrease in enrollment from 2019 to 2020. And now we're sitting here in 2023 with our enrollment ahead of where it was in 2019, and 21 of our colleges are seeing increases this year. I really think it's beyond impressive that our colleges have seen that we're ahead 4.46% over the last 5 years, despite taking an 11% dip from 2019 to 2020. This is big news. And we have 17 of our colleges have seen growth from 2019 to 2023. All right, looking ahead, I believe this is, I'm almost done. Looking ahead, our spring 2024 numbers are looking great. We're 6.8% ahead in applications for spring 24 enrollment. We currently have over 57,000 students who are registered for spring courses. That's over 3,600 more than were registered on the same date last year, and that's 6.8% ahead there as well. For fall 24, again, we're already tracking applications for fall 24, trying to see what those look like. But we have over 2,600 more applications than we had on this date last year, and that's almost 12% ahead of the same date last year. I showed this exact slide at the last board meeting, and this is credit that goes to Barry May, Jennifer Hall, Kathy Carr, Karen Becker, and a whole slew of people who've put their heads together to put together a non-credit enrollment report. I'm not going to belabor what is on this report, but I do want to show you the numbers because they've changed significantly since last month when I presented the same data to you. But this report does show all of our different workforce programs, adult education programs, Innovation Center, Skills for Success. Registrations from August 1, so the way they built this report is to try to match the school year. So we're looking from August 1 until November 30th, and of course we'll look at the entire fall semester once the end of December gets here. But at least from August 1st to November 30th, our adult education programs have touched over 17,000 students. Or they've had over 17,000 registrations. There may be students taking multiple offerings. Workforce development programs, that's almost 12,000 students taking workforce development. Continuing education, 970. Almost 4,000 students have taken, or almost 4,000 registrations in Skills for Success programs since August 1st. That's a fantastic number that we're all happy to continue to see growing. Other significance: training in business training business and industry, over 2,500. So total registrations in non-credit programs, 29,275. So if you take that, I joke often that I try not to do math in public, but you take the 83,000 students that we have in for-credit programs, you add that to the almost 30,000 that we have taking non-credit programs. It's about 113,000 students that we've touched through some of our programs in the fall of 2023. We're thrilled about this number. We expect it to continue to increase, and I just appreciate your support. Presidents, you and your staff are doing all the work. I get the easy job of standing up here and presenting numbers, but I just want to commend you and your staff and your faculty for doing the hard work of getting these students there and educating them through to completion. That's all I had. I'll entertain any questions.
Neil, I think as you have made the case with each of your presentations, that 11% dip post-COVID or during the early days of COVID to now being nearly up 4.5 almost percentage points, that's a 15% swing in a very short amount of time, when others, as Dr. Mackey mentioned, other systems and community colleges have not seen that rebound. It, unfortunately for them, continues to decrease. So we must be doing some things right around here, and I think that right starts with you folks out there. So thank you for reporting that and making it clear.
Yes, thank you. All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to continue a discussion that was started by by John Mitchell. That was a notable program, the High School Athletic Association, State Department of Education, and we participated. And I've asked Ebony, I'm looking, where's that? Okay. I've asked Ebony to come and give us a little more detail on all of that.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chancellor, Board, Presidents, guests. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And if I Haven't had the honor of meeting you before. My name is Ebony, and I get to lead the amazing communications team here today. Our Senior Vice Chancellor, Susan Price, actually started something last meeting when she shared the Live Your Mission presentations. It was so impactful that we have a bunch of stories we actually want to share today, including what you saw with Dr. Brock Kelly. The reason being is that with all the amazing academic courses that we have, all the technical programs, all the non-credit training, and all the partnerships, the heart and soul of the Alabama Community College system really is more about how we live our mission and how we're embedded within the very fabric of every community in this state. You saw from Jefferson State that our colleges are doing the little things, the big things, and everything in between to tell our story and change minds about why we're here, because it matters, right? It matters. And we don't do this every meeting. Maybe more like once a quarter we'll do the Live Your Mission presentations. But today you'll get a glimpse, again, of what we do beyond education to serve Alabama's residents and help build our communities. So a couple members of our communications team will lead off the stories with the massive opportunity our system had with the Alabama High School Athletic Association football championships. We were the title sponsor for the live stream, just like Mr. Mitchell talked about. We'll then follow up with President Todd Shackett on how Southern Union's CDL program is living the mission to help make sure that area families are provided with groceries this holiday season. We'll then move from there to share the heartwarming story of one of the community college system's youngest athletes by way of Chattahoochee Valley Community College. That's living the mission. And then we'll finish it up with how Enterprise State literally joined voices and joint forces with the community to bring about some holiday cheer. Again, living the mission. Now, all presenters know full well that we're standing between you and lunch, so we will honor your time. But after hearing these presentations, you'll know that they were well worth the minutes we get to share together. So I'll get started with the championship games, which is what you asked me for in the first place,
and it's
Chancellor Baker.
Weather, right? Kate's
Wait just a minute. Hold up. All right. Dr. Mackey, I talked with your communications head, Dr. Sibley, and he shared that we have about 50,000 high school seniors in our state. I want you all to imagine that number of football players times their parents times all of their fans, and that's how many eyes we estimate were on the Alabama Community College system during the high school football championships last week in Tuscaloosa. This communication team, and primarily Russell Moore, our public affairs coordinator, and Clinton Bourgeois, our media administrator, championed bringing together all 24 community colleges for live broadcasts, commercials, and social media that was on display throughout the championship games. So everything from dual enrollment, certification programs, transfer, degrees, and athletics was talked about. Now, this is significant, not only because of the magnitude of the audience, but because in many cases, as we all know, local sports are what draw communities together more than anything else. And this partnership actually has a history. With the expansion of sports teams across the system and our colleges, Chancellor Baker wanted us a couple years ago to figure a way to best engage student athletes in their communities. External Affairs Executive Director Boone Connor identified an opportunity with APT to be the title sponsor of the championship games. And with the support of the System Office, Vice Chancellor David Walters, and Adult Education, and again, all 24 community and technical colleges and the Innovation Center, the communications team executed a massive plan to tell our story in front of thousands of guests. So you're going to hear directly from Russell and Clinton on the coordination and the impact, but first we want to share one of the live interviews that happened with one of our alumni who currently plays for Alabama. All right, go.
Here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Cade will be playing for the Crimson Tide this year, but he has already had a distinguished baseball career. The National Junior College Division I Baseball Player of the Year at Wallace Dothan. Cade, thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, it's a pleasure being here, and thank you all for bringing me on.
What did it mean to you to have that opportunity to play at an Alabama community college, to give yourself an opportunity to get to a place like Alabama?
I needed to mature a little bit, and Wallace Dothan offered every bit of opportunity for me, and I couldn't be more grateful for it.
Cade, what would you tell young players, high school players, who maybe don't get that four-year college offer and maybe get a little discouraged and they think, well, I don't want to go to a two-year school? Obviously, that can be a great path. What would you say to those youngsters?
Well, I came from a 4-year and went to a 2-year, and don't ever think that the 2-year is anything less than the 4-year. I played some guys in junior college that maybe better than some of this level. I mean, they're studs everywhere, and like I said, junior college was the perfect thing for me. I grew as a person. I grew as a baseball player. I grew as a teammate. And it really lit that fire where I needed it. And really and truly, it's the reason I'm still playing baseball. So I appreciate community college. And really, it doesn't matter how good my kid is, he's going to junior college.
That's a great endorsement for the Alabama Community College system. Cade Snell, thank you for being with us today. Congratulations on all your success, and we wish you all the best here at the University of Alabama.
Yes.
Good morning, Chancellor Baker, the board members. As Ebony was said, we appreciate the opportunity to do this. I think it's been fantastic. I'll go over just how I tried to cast a wide net across the state, trying to make sure that all topics were covered, from adult education to skills for success, dual enrollment. So among the interviews, as you saw, Cade Snell. Now, Cade would have been there all 3 days if I'd asked him. He was very energetic, did a fantastic job. I was thankful to have President Funderburg from Ingram State, President Brock Kelly, as Board Member Mitchell mentioned, and Shelton State President Jonathan Coe. Also David Bobo from Jefferson State, and the students, Dr. Scott and his team, and the adult ed team as well, so a few others. So one of the goals, of course, in November, it's hard to figure out, in early November, it's hard to figure out who's going to be playing in the championship games. But I tried to do the best I could to match the schools with their local community college, and it was fantastic. The energy, just the passion, and also, and Clinton will discuss this, all 24 colleges participated. All 24 colleges had a commercial that ran. So, for instance, when Madison Academy was playing, we made sure that Drake State and Calhoun Community College were represented. But throughout the whole week, all colleges were represented with their commercials. Now, we won't have the ratings for a few weeks, but one thing that was discussed with me today earlier this week from APT was on that Wednesday night that Board Member Mitchell mentioned, Alabama had the highest rated PBS/APT ratings across the U.S. Okay, across all 50 states, that was the highest rated programming, public television, and it tripled the next most watched program. So there were people watching. And so we're thankful for the opportunity. And to make it even better, we also have secured opportunities with the basketball championships, which will take place the last week of February into March. And there's 48 interviews that can take place. So if I didn't get you the first time, I'll be sure. But I just also want to say thank you for the willingness to help out. Everybody had to travel to Tuscaloosa. It was a busy week. And so there again, just thank you for the opportunity to speak about it.
All right, good morning, everybody, Chancellor, the board. As Russell was saying with the commercials, we were initially given 2 commercial spots throughout the 9 games that were being played, the 1 through 7A state championships, as well as the 2 flag football championships. But the week before, APT blessed us with bonus ads. So we ended up running 61 commercial spots throughout those 3 weeks, 3 days of 9 games. So we were able to get at least every school to have 1 commercial ran throughout those 3 days. So we kind of, as Russell said, we paired those schools up with the schools that were playing high school games. So it was kind of regionally significant. And if there weren't any schools that we hadn't played, we kind of force-fed them into a certain spot just to get the feed in there. And as Russell said, in just 2 months, we're going to be doing this all over again. But this is going to be over the course of 6 days, and we're going to have 42 games. So it's 42 interviews, and if we get the 2 commercial spots again, we're looking at 82 commercials, and possibly, Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of commercials. Yes, thank you, Ty. A bunch of commercials, and we get blessed with even more than that. So coming up in February, we have already put the email out to the schools to get their commercials. Again, if you wanted updated commercials, we'll be looking for those updated commercials so we can have those run throughout the state championships in high school basketball from March 26th to February 2nd. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, in the words of a great scholar and author, Mr. Winston Groom, by way of Mama Gump in the book Forrest Gump, you have to do the best with what God gave you. And this kind of marketing takes a very skilled communications plan for it to work the way that we want it to. And the skill in the ACCS communications team is so uncoachable and so brilliant. And I'm so honored to serve alongside such a gifted and strategic communications team. And so we were so thankful for the support, and we ask that you continue to trust our wild ideas, take our word for it, and have confidence that we live and breathe and strive toward ensuring that every resident who needs to hear about Alabama's community colleges either has or will have that opportunity. Are there any questions that we can entertain? Awesome. Well, thank you all so much.
Well, good morning, Chairman Roan, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Baker. Thanks for giving me a few minutes to talk about one of the partnerships we have at Southern Union Community College. I think the magic of what we do here at ACCS is really being so integrated with our communities and understanding what their needs are and taking those needs and turning them opportunities for our students through either education or training. And we see that more formally with our degree programs, but occasionally you run into things where you can do something with our non-credit programs. And this arose out of a casual conversation, because when you're integrated, you get to know a lot of people on a personal level, of a need that came in 2019 with the East Alabama Food Bank. And they were moving locations, and they needed help. So we volunteered our CDL program to move all of their food and whatnot across town, which would have taken them weeks. We did it in one day. And then during COVID, the need arose for them to have deliveries because they were running short on labor and so forth. And we volunteered for that. And so one of the things that when I was talking to Ebony and Dr. Price yesterday is, why didn't we know about this? And I think I speak for a lot of us here, it's just what we do. So we don't always think it's something special. And I think with the advocacy group we had yesterday is an opportunity for us to promote more and let more of the state know of the great things we do. So this particular is a relationship we have with our CDL program in the Food Bank of East Alabama. And I'll go through all of this, but as you know, there's food insecurity all over the place. And we've had a very successful CDL program for many years. And the demand has just been greater than what we could supply. And as a result of that, we've added 3 vehicles over the last 2 years and a couple of trainers. And we have more than 100 CDL certificates that we give now, more than doubling what we've had traditionally. So with that, we have lots of opportunity to combine the training that we do with the needs of the community. And so what we've done is typically what we'll do is 2 weeks on the simulator, 2 weeks on the track, and then 2 weeks on the road. And that's done with an unloaded truck, which is about 30,000 pounds. Well, fully loaded is 80,000. They don't necessarily get that training until they're on the job. Well, this provided our students an opportunity to get that real-life training. And so over the last 3 years now, let me go back a little bit, we've been able to save the East Alabama Food Bank about $300 per load. And that's saved over $37,000 over the last 3 years, which is they can put back into their operations for better things. And at the same time, our students are getting the training that they need for the real world experiences. Additionally to that, one of the things we do for them is our crew will go down and check out their fleet vehicles to make sure they're operating correctly. They've hired one of our graduates to run their transportation. And so it's been very, very successful. Just a testimonial from our Director of Workforce Development. And I think when you look at what we're doing here as a state in the community college system, it's all a result of having really high caliber, capable people with an equal amount of caring in the right places. And Mr. Lakevold here, who's my Director of Workforce Development, is a perfect example of that. He's a West Point graduate, ran infantry divisions over Europe for many years. Then he went to the private sector and ran factories for multinational corporations all over the world. Did a stint in economic development, and I was able to lure him to Southern Union. He's run our workforce development for the last 4 years and grown that division significantly. So again, getting to the right people in the right places is one of the things that make us successful as a system. And I'm not going to read all this. It's in your packet. Just a testimonial from Martha Hank, who's the director, and all of her appreciation for what we've done for this group over the past 3 years. All right, and then just some of the facts. You know, several loads, millions of pounds of food over the past 3 years. Any questions about any of this? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Chairman Roan, members of the board, Chancellor Baker, thank you all so much for giving Chattahoochee Valley Community College an opportunity to share what we think is a worthwhile and heart-wrenching program that our athletic division has had the opportunity to become engaged in. I'm not going to share, not going to steal their thunder, but I want to introduce Dr. Sherry Taylor, our Dean of Student Affairs and Campus Services, and Mr. Ben Hicks, our Athletic Director, and they're going to share some information on our affiliation with the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On November 30th, we formed a partnership with Friends of Jacqueline to adopt a 4-year-old Griffin that has cancer. So one of the things that we're focused on now in our athletic department, several things actually, is academics, community service, and championship. So when Dean Meyer, our commissioner, sent out an email looking for an institution to adopt this kid, I immediately responded to the email, just because we try to tell our student athletes and teach them about giving back, and also I felt like they can learn from this kid. Griffin is a kid that he's energetic, he's amazing, he's brave, he's courageous, and he teaches me life lessons every single day since meeting him. So you're looking at a 4-year-old that's battling with cancer and enjoying life. So I talked to the coaches and student athlete. If a kid that's 4-year-old can have a good spirit while battling through cancer, our problems are limited. So we try to get our student athletes in the community. We felt like it was a great opportunity to form a partnership with Friends of Jacqueline.
Thank you, Coach Hicks. Having worked with children and young adults throughout my career, it has become very clear to me, as I'm sure many of you will agree, that children are definitely a gift from God. Every single life, every single child, every single student is a reward and a blessing. Children and students help us to grow in patience, love, and understanding. Of course, some students help us grow in patience more than others. And they help us to develop empathy for others. And Griffin has done exactly that for us at the college, particularly for our student athletes and our athletic department. He has brought us closer, and he has made us stronger as a pirate family. I truly believe that if Jesus has been with us on the day that we adopted Griffin, he would have said, "Whoever welcomes this little pirate in my name welcomes me." Griffin's adoption, and I want to share a picture of him with you. Well, here we go. That's our Griffin. His adoption was extremely important to our athletic department, and the credit for our successful adoption day with Griffin definitely goes to our student athletes. When he arrived, they greeted him with a spirit line and cheered for him, and he was a little overcome by all the excitement, but he warmed up after a while. We had the father of the young lady Jacqueline and the foundation. His name is Dennis. He flew down from New York to be with us that day and to greet Griffin. We also had Captain CV, our mascot, who was there to greet him. And it was just a really exciting, fun day. Dennis shared the purpose and the mission of the foundation with the student athletes and all of us. And Coach Hicks and I also spoke to them about the importance of this day for the college. Our coaches really stepped up for us on this day, both our head and assistant coaches. Each coach and team presented Griffin and all three of his siblings with gifts and memorabilia from the college. They received team t-shirts, caps, a signed baseball and softball, a basketball penny bank that was signed by all the athletes, and they had already started filling it with quarters, a Valley Boys t-shirt, a team jersey for Griffin. We also had other departments like student services and workforce development pitched in and provided gifts for Griffin and his siblings as well. And one of the things that Dennis shared with us is that many people forget about the siblings when a child is diagnosed with cancer, and how thankful he was that we made a concentrated effort to recognize the siblings and make them feel just as special on this day. I do think Griffin's favorite part of the day was probably the pirate cake and hanging out with all the student athletes and Captain CB once he warmed up to him. I think Coach Hicks and I agree that our favorite moment was when Griffin very carefully and meticulously signed his little name with his little 4-year-old fingers onto his letter of intent and became a pirate forever. So I'd like to thank Commissioner Myrick for promoting our relationship with ACCC and the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation, President Screws and all the administration at CB for their support, Coach Hicks and his leadership in the athletic department, and especially our student athletes for welcoming Griffin with open arms and open hearts. I really think I can say these students have been forever changed by Griffin, but I think the video can say it best of all. Thank you so much.
Chancellor, I'm surprised she didn't say it. Go Pirates.
Thank you, board members, and I have the honor of introducing two of the most committed and talented faculty, I think, in the state of Alabama. And they're going to share some of our efforts with our community choir and our band. But a couple things. One of my favorite quotes is character is defined by what you do when no one is watching. And I think the examples that my colleagues have given today, and there will be events happening across the state as we speak, that will never show up in Neil's enrollment report. They won't show up in Elevate and how many credentials we award. It's just the good work that we do, that they do, because we believe in making a difference in our communities. We believe in making a difference in how we work, how we play, how we live. And I can't think of a better example of how Enterprise State brings people together through the arts, through music. I don't know, as I was weaving through traffic on 231 on my way up here this morning, I don't know that I've ever looked over to the car next to me and see somebody playing the steering wheel drums or singing a song that looked angry. And, I think what they do is they just bring a lot of joy to the community. And what they won't share with you, but I will, is these efforts are unfunded. They are done outside of their regular faculty hours. They won't talk about how many hours they practice and recruit, fundraise, so that all these things can take place. Because all of this is done outside of what they already do in the phenomenal education and training for all of our credit students that Neil was talking about earlier. So this time I would, we're going to show the video, or you want me to, Ebony, where are you at? Play? All right, so we'll go ahead and play. So one quick announcement. There is steel that is being erected on the new Enterprise State Performing Arts Center as we speak. And I think this is just, this is why. And our faculty, our students, our community members, they deserve an adequate space to learn, teach, and perform in. So look forward to seeing that progress over the next year. And at this time, I'd like for Dr. Ken Thomas, the chair of our Fine Arts Division, and Mrs. Ashley Gresco to come up and tell you a little bit more about our community choir and band.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, President Long. It is an honor for me to speak to you about what we do at Enterprise State Community College in our Fine Arts Division. I coined the phrase a few years ago that we are the community's college. We are the community's college, and we, as a college, need to be in the community. And by the same token, we want the community at our colleges. And so we can't do what we do in the Fine Arts Division without the support of our community members. And these partnerships that we form are so important to what we do. And the video that you just saw was our production of Handel's Messiah. And the first time I performed something from Handel's Messiah was at Southern Union State Junior College, right out of high school. And we talk about this in music appreciation, and so for our students to be able to perform this is such an honor for us and for our students. And with this event, the Messiah, we partnered with the Coffee County Arts Alliance, and the motto for Coffee County Arts Alliance is bringing community together. And what better way to bring the community together than through the arts? And so I'm going to share, we have a few slides that I would like to share with you. You see, this is from our spring concert last year, a young man who has transferred to a four-year institution, and then one of our community band and the community choir performing the work Cry of Jeremiah. And the soloist there is actually the composer who wrote the piece. And she came down 3 years ago to perform the soprano solo with Messiah. And there again, it's about those relationships. And she was impressed with what we were doing there, and so she invited us, she and her husband invited us to participate in this work, A Cry of Jeremiah, and I'll talk more about that shortly. But this is, again, our concert, spring concert with The Cry of Jeremiah and other pieces. Our Christmas concert last year with two of our young ladies doing a solo on He Never Failed Me Yet. And then, of course, the one at the bottom is our concert last Monday. At this time, I would like to introduce my colleague, Ashley Gresco, and she will tell you about our community orchestra.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Our community orchestra is actually a new ensemble on campus this semester. Having been a resident of Enterprise and a private teacher as well as public school educator for several years, I saw a need in our community. We have a very military-heavy community, and I'd had so many parents come to me and say, why don't we have an orchestra program? My child played when we lived in South Carolina or in North Carolina. And if you're aware, string programs are few and far between in the state of Alabama. However, we had all of these students who were taking lessons or had come from previous programs before, and so I spoke to Dr. Thomas at the beginning of this year. I said, what do you think about engaging our community in a youth and community orchestra? And he, of course, was thrilled with the idea, and so we launched it this fall. It's an entirely free ensemble that students and adults can participate in. Our youngest player is 7 years old, and our oldest, who will be joining us this spring, I think he's 73 and just started playing the violin. So our orchestra this fall had approximately 22 members participating, and our estimated numbers for the spring are actually up to 34. And out of those participants, we have actually formed it as a course. We're going to be offering it as a 4-credit ensemble next semester, and we have 17 of those participants are planning to enroll in the college. So we'll be bringing 17 enrollments to the college as well. And so you can see by the pictures, we have all ages, and we also had a really unique opportunity with our collaboration with the Arts Alliance and playing Handel's Messiah. As a youth musician, I'm a cellist, and I had participated in what we call a side-by-side concert, where you bring professionals or more advanced players, and then you seat them next to your students. And so that is what we decided to do for Handel's Messiah. We brought in professional musicians who were both hired in and outside of our community. We had several of our local music educators who are also performers. They came in and played in our orchestra, and then we had some of our more advanced students who are capable of playing the music come in and sit next to them and be able to learn and grow with them and play alongside them. So it's been quite a success so far this semester, and we look forward to growing the program over the next few years. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Driscoll. Again, pictures from our spring concert 2023. We do a variety of music. I want the students to be exposed to everything from the Baroque period to gospel music to spirituals, and so we do achieve that. And cross-generational with our students and those who have performed, and they were looking for a place to continue that, and so we provided that. People ask, I think that's part of our mission as a college, partnering with others, and if there's a need, we want to provide that through our colleges. Again, other pictures that from the spring and the Christmas concert. But this one, I really want to talk about our trip last summer to London. Stephanie Powell and her husband, William Powell, again, like I said, they came down to perform the Messiah with us in the first year we did it. And so they asked me, Ken, how would you like to partner with us to do the Cry of Jeremiah in London? I said, absolutely. They're again giving our students an opportunity to do things they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And so we practiced, and the students said to me, one young man said, he said, Dr. Thomas, because we've done Messiah, we can do this, the Cry of Jeremiah, which is quite challenging. And that is what we want them to do, grow musically. And so we learned the music. We went to Auburn and performed with Auburn University Chamber Choir, Auburn United Methodist Church, and Enterprise State Community College, and it was a great performance. And then the composer and her husband came down to do the concert with us at Enterprise State, and I was really proud of the fact that our choir, our community and concert choir, could perform this major work along with members of our band. And then in May, we went to London for the European premiere of the Cry of Jeremiah. It was Auburn University, Auburn United Methodist Church, the University of Missouri, the University of Regina from Canada, and us, Enterprise State Community College. I tell my students all the time, we're small, but we don't know it. We do big things, and this is one of those big things that we do. Again, it's about providing opportunities for our students and members of our community, and it is quite an honor that we get to do things such as this. So thank you for letting us share what we do in our Fine Arts Division, and we appreciate your continued support.
Chancellor, I'm sorry, I just want to note, even though they're doing great things in Enterprise, Dr. Ken Thomas worked with us on our course of study for fine arts. I don't know if you recognize him or not, but thank you for your work to make sure that we're doing what we should be doing in K-12. Thank you.
I said wow earlier. That's probably an understatement, to say the least, in terms of the continuing just stream of good things that are happening in and around our community colleges, and as Dr. Thomas mentioned, the community's college. You know, ranging from trips to London to bringing a smile to a 4-year-old who has gotten a tough set of cards but is dealing with it in a way that us adults can learn from. Schools matter, and what you do every day matters, and these are all just great examples. I think the title that Ebony used was Living the Mission, but this is really just about living in a good way, and making these communities much stronger, much better, much more resilient is what you do every day, and we're just so happy to be a part of that and support that in every way that we can. So, any other committee reports? Hearing none, I think we're getting closer to lunch. We're not quite there yet. The next meeting of the Board of Trustees, well, first we'll actually have a work session following this adjournment of this meeting here in this room. We understand that the hour is getting pushed a little bit, and some of our guests may have some other commitments fairly soon, but we do want to make sure we eat. And so what we're going to do, I'd like to do, is just take a couple of minutes after adjournment of this meeting for those who may have to leave for other commitments, and then we'll just go right into the work session after those folks get a chance to clear the room. We won't keep you terribly long for the work session. And then we will actually, for those who will be going to the luncheon, we'll take the elevator down to the garage and go towards the northeast corner to actually walk over to the RSA Plaza, and then we'll go up to the 6th floor. I know that sounds a little complicated, but there will be folks along the way to help, and we can just all kind of go as a group. So don't worry, no one's going to get lost, and there's no Reese's Pieces to guide you. There will be, we'll make sure you get over there. So I just want to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping with that. And also before we adjourn, the poinsettias that you see, which have become a staple for this meeting, again, our friends at Wallace Hansfield have gifted those to us, and they do last a long time because the one from last year is still in my house. It's not blooming, and it has nothing to do with the plant. It has to do with me as the caregiver of that plant. But it is still there, and it has some greenery to it. So they are some very hardy plants, to say the least, but they're also beautiful. So we thank them very much for sharing the bounty of the beauty of those plants with us again this year as well. Anything else before we actually adjourn? I would also just like to thank Ms. Taylor, Wilkins, and Ms. Finkelstein for helping put together our lunch that we're going to have. And I want to say that while everybody was here before we just get over there, but thanks to them for making sure that all of that has come together quite nicely. So without further ado, this meeting is adjourned.
When it was originally 15, Roger Margaret was telling me, he said, we won't need all of that. And so it was just early conversations. And then 15, and
Okay.
20, and then it was, how are you doing?
brought extra of these for this scholar, and I certainly appreciate all that you do for us over the course of a year. So. I know, right? That's a very low bar.
Good for you.
On through the work session so that we can get over to the other building and get going. And we promise not to keep you too terribly long here, so I think we got a couple of folks that are not yet back. So there's one en route, and John is probably right behind him.
Oh, here it is. Down and C's and.
So thank you for staying for the work session. We will move through, we have 3 items, and David?
The items on the work session this morning are all facilities items, so Mr. Salmon will be carrying the load.
Good morning, board members and Chancellor Baker. We have 3 items for you this morning to move through quickly. In your packets, the first one is at Wallace State Community College. Tied to Hansville, we have a lease that will need board approval in January. We've included some information in here. The site is located in Coleman in downtown as we prepared it for the packet. And we put in here the details for the annual operating expenses. The lease is at $189,300 annually. Board policy does require the board to approve leases that do exceed $165,000 annually, and so this is why you're seeing this in this meeting today. That is the fiscal consideration for this, and this particular site is being developed by the college there for workforce programs, skills training specifically, as we continue to expand that effort across the state. Board members, any questions about this particular lease? The next project, board members, for you to consider today is down at Bishop State, the North Broad campus there. We have the gymnasium, or what is known as the main campus cultural center. In this particular building, board members, on the northern side, we have space in there that is historically at one time was used for music, and the college is moving forward, just as we saw at Enterprise, aggressively to reestablish the music and the talent that is in this part of the city. The effort will focus on the spaces that pertain to classroom instruction. You do have some officing, but practice areas as well and so forth. We do expect this project to bid in the first quarter of next year, and the financial considerations are in your packet that we put there. This may be a one-time public viewing of this project, as that the project perhaps may come under the established budget that has been set, or at budget that's in your packet. If it does go over the financial requirements that require board action, then we'll bring this back to you at a future meeting. Any questions about the music program at Mobile at Bishop State? And then the last program, you've seen this before, board members. This is the Aviation Center project that is happening at Brookley Field with the building of a new hangar at that airport. Specifically, this particular building is going to complement the efforts at Coastal. In this particular slide, you can see the proximity of the location where this aviation center is going to be built in relation to the runway and the rest of the activity that is happening at Brookley with the Airport Authority's expansion. We have in here this aviation center that will be built. Specifically, the action that you're seeing here, board members, pertains to the ground lease that we'll be entering into for a 20-year period with 2 5-year options. The red represents the limits of the lease and the boundary of the property that we will be entering into to lease from the Mobile Airport Authority. And you can see the building that we've discussed at one time before and so forth, the details and so forth. The lease itself, these are the arrangements that we have been working on with the Mobile Airport Authority and Chris Curry and the city down there, and they've been very good to help us with this particular project. We'll be returning this back to you as we finalize things with them in the coming week and having this formally for the board to take action in the January meeting. Any questions about the lease, this ground lease for the hangar project at Brookley Field for this new aviation activity for Coastal Community College? Thank you, board members.
Thank you, Mark and David. Told you we wouldn't keep you long. These were three items that we obviously did need to bring to the work session, and we appreciate your patience for those. And so for those who are joining us over in the RSA Plaza, 6th floor, down to the basement, off the elevator to the right, and there will be a large and growing number of folks walking that way as well. But meanwhile, we do want to make sure for those who are not able to join us that we wish you the very best of safe and enjoyable holiday season, and that you are able to take some time to recharge and regenerate yourself during this season, but also reflect on the reason that we are all here, and that is to actually lead a good and productive life. As we have seen through these examples that were provided earlier, life is good, but life can also be challenging, and we can meet those challenges and still make the best of it. So with that, we wish you all a happy holidays, and this meeting is adjourned.